Good morning. What's up, everyone? I know I say I'm super excited to be here every Tuesday, but today I am thrilled because Janine is here from the Hyper Local Agent, and she's going to be talking everything about farming neighborhoods, geo-farming, and she does so much freaking amazing, unique stuff. She has got so much stuff ready for you guys today. Welcome, Janine.
Thank you. I am really excited to be here. I've been watching you for a while and I love the interviews. I love the podcast and I love the Modern Real Estate Agent. It's very nice to see like actual conversations inside your podcast. So thanks for having me.
Oh, well, trust us. We are the lucky ones to have you here today. So I'm just so excited for you to share with everyone, how you got started and, why, geographic farming just really took off for you and why it's so important in your business.
Awesome. So let's dive right in. I told you I actually have a voice clip that I want to share with everybody that is on because I need you to really see this is not theory. So I hope you can hear it and I hope I got it to the right part where, this is an actual lead. So, everybody's privacy here.
Received one of those golden tickets in the mail, and we would like the opportunity to talk to you about selling our home. We are located at 1750.
Okay. Made it just in time before the address came out. But this is an actual person. This came in January 9th, which as we're recording this one was yesterday. And this is what I want to share with you guys on this because all of this has been building my business from 0 to multiple six figures at this point. And I know it's possible. I'm not one of the let me sell bazillions of dollars. I do not even sell close to 100 homes a year. And I have, a big reason that I don't think I do ever want to. But that being aside, I started with $0 for my marketing spend. I started with really not knowing a thing of what I was doing. Little background, I came from an early childhood education background. I interviewed in that field, and when they told me what I would be making, I was really shocked how, the salaried position was not even close. Protecting the most amazing thing in our lives, our kids. I'm like, this is horrible. So long story short, I ended up getting my real estate license and I started trying all the things. I tried the open houses. I tried some of the videos. I tried door hangers. I tried everything everywhere. And I also tried farming. And when I said I tried farming, I just said, hey, I wanted to see if I can establish myself with maybe some events and flyers in my local neighborhood since I was very familiar with it. And that's what what started this whole journey of mine, if you want, on geographic farming. How can I grow inside a hyper local area? At that time, I had a 3-year-old. It was hard. It was hard to, do all the things you do with a 3-year-old. You can't just leave them alone. I was always like, hard. You have them along for the ride. And since I was more of a full-time mom, kind of try to figure out how do I connect with people without somebody in my background yelling, Mom, I have to go to the bathroom, because that doesn't look really professional. So it was flyers. It was, and then within a year or so, I added postcards. And when I added postcards, an entire new world opened up. So that was really a huge shift where I said, oh my gosh, I can reach 400 people for $120 a month. Like that to me was an amazing investment where I said,
it's crazy.
This is awesome. Like I don't have to worry about them opening up their emails. I don't have to worry about them answering the door. If I send 400 people something in the mail, 400 people are going to get it.
And you didn't have to call them.
Yeah. And then from there, it was just a matter of, okay, how can I make it better? How can I tweak it? How can I get, as many people into my world, which is then an email list. But that's a little bit on the farm. So I was really hooked. I'm like, this is awesome. So I looked at my farm, and my farm itself started with 100 homes. And I looked at these 100 homes and said, okay, how can I connect with these people inside the home? At the end of the day, there's people, right? It's a people business. That's why we're not replaced by AI. I know the AI is sweeping the internet right now, and we're all excited about it. But at the end of the day, people are having really a hard time trusting anything online.
Yeah.
And unless you consistently show up and you're consistently saying, yes, hey, I'm a real person, connect with me, there's a barrier, there's a wall. So I started with the farm and I wanted to be in front of them. So I'm like, let me host an event. And those two pieces in conjunction are really, I think, what makes it work, right? Most people are just looking at a farm. They're like, oh, I'm just going to send something in the mail and I'm going to get business.
Right.
I want to talk to you guys today about the big strategy, not just the fluffiness. Oh, send a mailer, you'll get tons and tons of leads, just like the one I showed you on my phone, right? I mean, I have no interaction with that one, but I can double, triple, quadruple the messages that I get like this if I show up and I make myself a real person to this person in my farm. So, and I totally forgot the first question we're going on.
Well, let me ask you this. So, did you start farming in your own neighborhood?
I did. And the backstory to that is I was born and raised in Germany. I didn't go to school here. I didn't grow up here. I moved from the city from my job in with my now husband. And that was the only area I really knew. This was the only area that I was around a lot. It took me 6 months to figure out the way to the grocery store. Very disoriented, very, trying to figure it out. I had a map of parks that I actually had printed out because I didn't know where the parks were. So really getting to know the neighborhood was something that I did personally, which then benefited my business. And the neighborhood that I ended up in turned out to be a profitable farm. And we're going to talk about that one because most often people look at their neighborhoods and they're like, oh, I want to farm here. And that's great. But if your neighborhood is not profitable, you will not make enough money, right? So I got very lucky. And since then, I developed a system to make sure other agents are finding their highly profitable farms, not just, oh, I want to farm my neighborhood. Because as fun as that is, we're still running a business, not a charity, right? So that is one of the resources that I gave you as well to share with all your listeners, how to find your highly profitable geographic farm. And it's the foundation.
Yes, we have her free cheat sheet for farming that we're going to send out.
Yeah, and it's really the foundation. So if you look at it, just like building a house, your foundation needs to be your numbers on the farm. And it sounds super nerdy, but knowing these numbers, it's also a piece of reassurance. You know that this will work after you look at numbers.
Yeah, and I know because I've taken your programs and attended your boot camps and everything as well, that you seriously have it completely systemized to exactly what everybody needs to be looking for those neighborhoods and everything too, which I'm sure, we'll talk a little bit about that too. But I'm curious, you mentioned, like 400, postcards for like $100 and stuff. I mean, that is crazy, like affordable for the amount of leads like you're sending out. Is that typically what you spend or what the average agent is spending? And
that was me getting started, right?
Right.
So the cost of that obviously is from, at this point, I want to say almost 6 years ago. So that was in like 2017.
Yeah.
Mind you, the cost of paper. Mind you, the United States Postal Service has increased their rates since, and the number has probably gone up a little bit. Definitely hasn't come down.
Yeah.
We can, just like taxes. But one of those things is, if you look at it, I found this program and everybody, can see it. It's the Every Door direct mail system. And it allows small businesses to send bulk mail to an entire mailing route at a very, very low cost. Meaning low cost, I think right now they were at 19 cents for a stamp, and printing cost roughly is about the same. So you're looking at about 19 cents at the moment. So you're looking at 38 cents to get in front of somebody's, doorstep without me leaving the house. So 38 cents, let's say 40, just to make it easy. Let's say 40 cents. They just increased the cost of stamps to 60. So even if I wanted to send them a letter, I'd be already 20 cents more in the hole. Now you multiply that over the amount of, 400 homes, for example, this adds up. So a big thing for me was always, where can I cut the cost, find a more effective and efficient way? Because if I save money, I can eventually expand. And that was one of the things I've done. So I grew from 400 to 800 to 1200 to 1600 to 2000 to 3500 to 5000. And I'm not done growing, right? I am still growing. I'm still doing more of the exact same things that I help other agents now do. But taking it in-house, learning how to do it yourself gives you control. It gives you more money you can then spend. Because if I go out and I hire a postcard companies, and there's some great companies out there, the problem is that you are having to pay for that convenient service.
Right.
And you're losing the control of who are you really targeting. I don't think it's a secret anymore that all of us understand we can't talk to everybody, right?
Yeah.
Jack of all trades, master of none. You really need to understand who are you serving. If you're a real estate agent selling, I sell houses, well, so do the other 1.6 million. So what makes you different? What makes you special? And the hyper local aspect of it has really helped me become an expert. People will reach out, hey, what's my model called, right? We're looking to potentially sell. How much is my model currently selling for? People look at you and they're like, this person knows. And then we also get people saying, hey, we have friends looking to move into the neighborhood. And I know that you do a lot of business. Do you know of anything coming up? Can you help them? People love it. People love to be in the know. And this is something that you cannot replicate with any sort of service out there. This is really an expert status, because all of us are looking for a unique value proposition. Everybody's looking for what's my edge. And it's not the commission part. It should never be the commission part, right? So the question is, what can you do to be the expert? What can you do to stand out? What service and value add are you bringing to the table to really make sure people just see you as the go-to person?
So speaking of standing out and everything, I'm really curious what your best postcard or mailer was that you've gotten the best results or the most comments or the most calls. I would love to know what that is.
Okay, number one question I get all the time, what works the best? And my number one mailer is the calendar, a calendar mailer. 2023 calendar mailer just went out, and it's bonkers. I have gotten a call last November of 2022, from my calendar mailer that went out in January. So every year I look at this calendar mailer and I'm like, this mailer just does it all year long. I'm on the refrigerator. I'm there. They don't forget about it because I'm literally always right there. And it is the most expensive mailer, I will say that, because it's a little bit of a longer mailer, but it's the best investment one. So if I look at it last year, this mailer alone was about a 1 in 20 ROI. So I can attribute people calling me saying like, hey, we've gotten your calendar mailer, and based on only that mailer, on how much it cost and how much commission it generated me in 2022, that was a 1 in 20 mailer, a 20x return.
Totally worth it, because people are keeping it for the entire year. They're not just throwing it away like regular mailers and postcards and flyers and all that stuff. They're keeping it there. And then when the time comes or somebody asks them, hey, do you know anybody? They're like, oh yeah, I do. She's right here on my refrigerator.
Yeah. And people share the calendar. So I had I think I took a screenshot of it. I know it's not going to help the podcast. I will read the text. But one of the...
You can post it later in the group.
Yeah, I can post it
If you find
later
it,
if
if
you
find
want.
the picture.
But the picture essentially was a neighbor reaching out, and the neighbor said, "Hey, my daughter got your calendar mailer, and would you be able to drop one off? Here's my address." So for those of you seeing it on here, this one is the picture, so you see it right there. But those are all real people that I'm connecting with, and clearly they're finding value in it. And that's the other piece.
Yeah.
We provide value, right? And I know you do an amazing job inside the Modern Real Estate Agent with the value, right? We don't need the fluffiness. There's so much fluffiness out there. We don't need that. We need the real value piece of it.
Yeah. And that is so, like, it's so interesting to me, because you would think like calendars are kind of dead now, like everybody has their phones and stuff. But I mean, that clearly proves that that is not true. And you know what? I think people kind of miss not having like physical, things like that too. So that's really fascinating that calendars are such a big thing again, or still.
I should say the calendars, and obviously it's based on who is my ideal avatar. That's where it started.
Yeah.
My ideal person that I wanted to do business were people in my neighborhood that have raised their kids and they were ready to downsize. Oftentimes, from an age perspective, between 50 to 70. Guess what? They love the QR code kind of thing because it was kind of cool. But then they're like, I'm over it. I'm good. I kind of just want a real thing in my hand. And there are studies out there proving that you actually get more credibility for something in print. So if you have an online store selling, a pen for $1, and you see an online ad on Facebook, and then you get the same ad essentially delivered on a postcard, people will look at it and be, that's scam over here on Facebook, but this is real because it's in print. And real estate works the same way.
Yeah.
So one of the principles I share with a lot of people is Michael Mayer's 7 Levels of Communication, one of the most amazing real estate books out there. His pyramid really talks about the impact that you can have. So if you own the book, go look back at that pyramid. But the very first tier where a lot of agents get stuck is advertisement. And advertisement is great, but if 1.4 million agents do it out of the 1.6, why are you entering that bloodbath? If you're really looking to stand out, start a step above. And it happens to be that the step above is direct mail.
So with, you doing the geographic farming and the direct mail, how do you think that your farming has been different and you've been able to stand out opposed to any of the other agents sending mailers out?
So the way I stand out is I don't mail every single month. And most people look at it and be like, but everybody says you have to mail 12 months out of the year in order to have success. I totaled up my last year's mailer 2022. I sent 7 mailers throughout the year. And that for me is just proof in itself already. Like the myth that's out there, you have to send every single month, is based on companies trying to give you into a 1-year contract. Okay. If you really think about it, why is it out there? Who is saying you have to mail every single month? Really look at it. So mailing is not where, the only thing you have to do. And that's where we're going to look at a lot of other things. So I mentioned to you, we're going to be adding more things inside the hyperlocal agent. The second part that you really need to have with your farm is an event. You need to get in front of people, right? And the way I describe it is almost like a funnel, right? At this point, the funnel, the triangle, the upside down triangle, and you have the know, like, and trust factor in it in order for you to do business. So if you look at it from this funnel perspective, you have know, you need to know somebody. That's my mailer. That's how they know about me. But then from there, they need to like me. They need to go to the next step. And the way I do that one is we want to make sure that they see me just like this on video, right? And they can decide, do I like this person? They're going to get emails from me. They're going to see me on video. They're going to they're going to see that I'm a real person. And either they're going to like me and they're going to do business with me, right? Or they don't. And then from there, it's the trust factor. And that trust factor is events. Because with community events, you are building goodwill and trust within your community. So between those three things, that's where your geographic farm will take off. You don't have to send mailers every single month, but you're becoming a really unbreakable business because geographic farming is not new. I didn't invent geographic farming. I just took the principles of what I saw worked and systematized them so any agent can now follow it without needing to, hire expensive third parties, because that's the barrier of entry. If you don't have the money to hire expensive third-party services, how are you going to get started? And that's what the system does. It helps people to really look at it and be like, okay, how can I reach X amount of people? I want to make sure they get to know me, and I want to be visible to them. And then how can I have them trust me? This is a cold market. This is hard, right? But if you have a step-by-step system and you really just follow these steps, people see you're providing real value and you're building real relationships.
Absolutely. And having systems just make it so much easier on our end to implement everything, for sure. So how do you tie the events into the mailers and the geographic farming?
So the event itself, a lot of them are registration mailers. So for one of the events, for example, I do is a neighborhood garage sale. Best event ever in my farm, at least in my area.
I love that.
It's a really good one, and for various reasons. But this really lets me connect with sellers as well as people looking to buy. It's an all-encompassing event. Last year, I added over 600 people into my database in one weekend from that event. And again, when we're looking at growing, right, we're looking at growing everything. It's the whole picture. You got to grow your email list, build out your systems, connect with more people. And really streamlining that, events are great. You get everything. You get the mailer. So that's where I use one of the mailers. We do registrations. So I have people receive the mailer. If they want to participate, they will register, which gives me their name, which gives me their email, which gives me their address, right? And from there, I can then build out that garage sale map for them, and I can really help them the best possible way. That mailer, I will do videos. I will be on my phone and I will simply say, hey, we have 40 people, we have 50 people, whichever one it is, the video component is in there. And then obviously the event component, the trust. I will go around that weekend and I will just see how can I help? How can I drive traffic to them, right? How can I help them sell more stuff and build that relationship? So that event in itself hits all of these components, which makes it such a great lead generation part of it. Love that one. So
yeah, and I would like to just take 1 second and let everybody know what you just said. Like, you were lead generating, but you were providing value, which is why people are so quick to provide their information and stuff, because you're not just asking for their information, you're giving them something of value in return for that. And that's what I think a lot of people miss out on in their lead generating activities that they do all the time.
Yeah. Going really a little bit further on this, it needs to be something that you like. Like if you're just doing it because Janine said garage sales, they work. I hate garage sales, but I'm going to do it. It's not going to work for you. It really is not. There's so many other amazing events, and we're actually currently getting together a list of 60 plus neighborhood event ideas that people can take. I have grown my events inside the neighborhood because there's something for every budget. We've done Halloween pictures. We've done a Halloween scavenger hunt, pictures with Santa, pictures with the Easter Bunny. We've done a lot of events where our neighbors can come out, they can socialize, and it doesn't have to be expensive. One of the events we hosted, I think I had maybe $200 out in cost, and a lot of it was just driving traffic from our Facebook group. So yes, there's also a Facebook group component, for example. I'm not the admin, it's not my group, but you just find where your people are at. And maybe you have a Facebook group, maybe you have nextdoor.com. You really need to go and see where are the people in my hyper local area that I can then have conversations with.
And, talking about the expenses and stuff too, you could totally partner with vendors in the area to help sponsor some of that too. So it doesn't all have to come out of your own pocket, especially when you're just starting out. I'm sure. I mean, I know in our area, the vendors are like always like begging, like, what can I do to help? What do you guys want to do? Let us get involved. So.
Money. Yeah. If you ask a real estate agent, money for marketing. Yes.
Yeah. Don't bring me food. Bring me money for events. Yeah. So what would be your advice for anybody who doesn't live in a neighborhood or a subdivision? So, for myself, for example, I live on 82 acres. So I have my own subdivision all by myself.
Love that. Well, can we exploit those 82 acres, right? Is the other one. So, I know, I just commented on one of your posts that we're living like, very similar lives.
Yes.
I just moved to 7 acres, and it's like interesting how we are like drawing ourselves to like solitude. But one of the things I look at too is, oh my gosh, I would love to put up a movie screen in my backyard and just simply invite people over, right?
Yeah, that's what I said. We should have client events over, and you can do the same.
See? And you can do simple ones. Like I said, blowing up a movie screen you get from Amazon, a projector, and simply say, hey, come on out. It doesn't have to be like expensive. It can be something really, really fun. So, but anyhow, back to you farming 82 acres.
Yeah.
The only client, that's not going to work.
Right.
It goes back to your profitable farm, right? How big of a farm is it? And I'm going to give you the best piece of advice when it comes to selecting that farm. Do not start with your farm. Do not start with the subdivision name in mind. If you are looking at the subdivision boundaries, and you're not looking at your money that you need to invest first, chances are you're not going to be able to sustain it. So EDDM, every door direct mail, this is where you start. Most people start in their MLS. Don't start in your MLS. Start with your mailing route. What is out there? How much is that route going to cost me? And how many homes are in there? Going with that EDDM route is your number one step to finding a profitable farm. You're going to put in the zip code that you think, and that most of us know our market. We know a house comes on the market somewhere in the subdivision, chances are it flies off the market. Why is that? Yeah. And that's most often a buyer pool thing, right? So a lot of people will ask, oh, I want to break into the luxury. I will advise against it most of the time. Unless you already have some sort of momentum going on, I will say this is probably not the greatest idea right off the bat. It's expensive. I've talked to a couple of people that do luxury, and they actually have smaller deals, smaller volumes, funding the marketing of the big ones. It takes money. It takes a lot of money to market these. The return is great, but the money out of the pocket, most agents don't want to carry that, right? Yeah. So really look more at your bread and butter. I want you to look at where is the majority of houses in your market selling. My market, for example, we're going to be looking at anywhere from, let's say, 3 to 400. And if the majority of houses sell in this range, this is where the most buyers are going to be at. So for me, it would be, where can I find a subdivision that is anywhere from 3 to 400 in the homes? It can be a little higher, it can be a little lower, right? But in general, where's that subdivision? And I will focus in on that one simply because I know this is where the biggest pool of buyers sits. And this is also where I can then find the biggest pool of sellers. Yeah. And once I have that, then I will go into the MLS. Then I will go, okay, let me see from that route, and the routes sometimes go crazy. And I always get asked, what if somebody gets my mailer that's not in my neighborhood? I call it collateral damage. Are you really gonna be sad that you reached an extra 30 people for literally nothing just because they're not in that neighborhood? Are you going to be sad that they call you to list their house because you're not in that neighborhood? No, you're not.
No. Yeah, and the mailing routes they typically include more than just, specific neighborhoods and stuff as well. So
they can go a little wacky at times. I mean, I've seen them where they're like very long. Sometimes what we've done in some of them, because not all the time will they have the entire neighborhood. Sometimes you have like a street or two left and then they go to a different route and you're like, oh, but I want those people. You can combine your efforts, right? You can have your route and you can combine it with some targeted mailing to those two streets in order to really get everybody.
That makes sense.
The cost will go up a little bit, but this way you can really make sure, okay, but at least I got all the neighbors.
Yeah, because sometimes the Every Door Direct, when you look at the routes and stuff, it looks like your Roomba just has no plan where it's going.
It does. And the way it works is really, it's your mailman has a predetermined route that he goes every single day and delivers mail to. And the post office has this Every Door Direct mail service where you literally do not have to sort the mail. That's one of the reasons it's so affordable. They do not have to send it through the machine to sort it. It's all bundled. They just put it in that truck and be like, hey, this goes to your route. So every time you stick something in the mailbox, one of those goes in there as well. It cuts down on cost. And this is how, it's set up. This is why the route is a little crazy. A mailman is not going to zigzag all over town, right? They're still going to be in a condensed area somewhere, but they also might have like a weird little arm on the way back to the post office where you're like, oh, this is weird. So
yeah, it is definitely weird, but like you said, it's, the cost effectiveness is so great and you don't have to do anything. You don't have to go to UPS. You don't have to print them. It's so easy. And I know too, in your group and stuff, like you have completely systemized it right down to exactly what to look for in the neighborhoods and the routes and the key metrics for all of that stuff too. So before, we dive into, anything further in that, I know that you have the Mailer Bootcamp starting Monday. And I know that so many people inside of the group are really excited to hear about that. So if you want to tell everybody what's going to happen next week, we are ready for it.
Awesome. So the Mailer Bootcamp for Real Estate Agent is something I started about 18 months ago. And at this point, I run it once a quarter roughly. And in this bootcamp, we're really drilling down on what are you going to send, right? That's the number one. What's converting? What are we doing? And I'm going to show you exactly my system of how we find out who are we looking for? Who is the person that you're trying to connect with? Who's going to be the seller? All of us know transactions are going to be few and far between. So your message really needs to speak to that person that says, I want to sell. And that, for example, was the message I showed you in the beginning of the show. This drew out the person that said, I want to sell. And this is where we are actually getting leads. So that bootcamp is broken down. It's a 5-day bootcamp. We're really doing a lot of the training components, no fluffiness, really actionable items from Monday through Wednesday. We're doing a masterclass on Thursday. And then on Friday, I'm showing you a lot of inspirational stories. Like we've gotten so many more testimonials from people saying, I got a lead, I got an appointment, I just signed a listing agreement. So you really see it working for average agents, because at the end of the day, again, there's enough services out there for people that have marketing money to spend, but most people getting started, be efficient, right? Be resourceful, be efficient, because you will find massive amounts of profits. And the nice thing is you don't have to worry about an algorithm pushing your post down because it didn't like something, right? I don't know if you remember the Facebook blackout from 2021. Facebook went down for an entire day and everybody freaked. And right? And I was just thinking, who doesn't quit? It's the post office, because my mailers were being delivered and I was a happy camper. So if you're really, looking for diversifying, maybe adding something, I'm not against social media. That's the thing. I just think if you have a lead gen strategy, make sure it's something that has been proven. I think cold calling for the right people it's probably an amazing strategy if you're cut out for it. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm an introverted person that rather sits behind a computer, right? So if you're not looking to be super engaging and always out there, and if you don't want to be rejected directly to your face, because if they crumble up that mailer and put it in the garbage, they didn't hurt my feelings, right? I'm like, I'm still okay. But this is why I love mail. I get to oftentimes design my mailers during nap time. Well, we don't have nap time in our house anymore, but that used to be what I did. Now it's oftentimes after bedtime. And then the mailman would go about delivering during the day while I was playing at the park. And for me, that just screamed freedom. And then at night, I was able to go and, go on appointments, do what I needed to do, and really designed a business that worked for me as a mom without time blocking, without really trying to fit into this standard real estate cliche, what a lot of people tell you you have to do, right? There's a lot of different ways to build a successful business. And for somebody on here, it hopefully is going to resonate.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, we're really big, inside of our group and all of our trainings and stuff is, just like you said, I'm a huge introvert. And I think, like we find our own niches and our own lead generation and our own clients based on our personalities and what we enjoy doing. Everybody has to find that. When I first got started in real estate, just like you were saying, everybody was saying, this is what you have to do. You have to cold call, you have to go door knocking. And I spent so much time finding ways to avoid doing those things that, it took me a little bit longer to get started, but I spent so much time finding ways around all of that. And I mean, like you created this entire, business inside your business so that you could scale it and make it work around you because you were a mom and a wife and, just finding what worked for you. And I know that there's tons of people, even, extroverts and introverts alike, this kind of thing works perfectly, for anyone, especially when you throw in the events, right?
When you throw in events. And one of the interesting things is too, I've been hunting down some of the big gurus essentially that are out there, right? And I have 3, 4, 5 of them, I think, that are all saying the same thing. One of the commonalities from somebody that's a top producer is they are all doing some form of direct mail. And that's part of the look behind the curtain, right? You always see the nice stuff in the front end, but what really is behind on the back end is so much more. Well, how do you get all the past clients and referral business coming to you? They get something sent. By the way, I do send them monthly, top of mind, okay? So if you've done business with me, I will stay in front of you every single month. And for those of you guys that do not have an easy way to follow up with your past clients, if you're still doing pop-bys, I'm not against pop-bys, but keep in mind it's easy to do for 10 clients. It's a heck of a lot harder to do for 100 clients, and it's becoming near impossible to do for 1,000 clients. So if you're really looking at scaling something, because all of us don't have time, we're all time pressed. No matter who you talk to, your clients, your vendor partners, other agents, we're all struggling for time. For me, it doesn't make a difference if I send 100 mailers, 1,000 mailers, 10,000 mailers. My effort is the same at a certain point. For me, it's just going to be scaling the money, right? And as long as I'm profitable, it makes sense.
Right.
And you don't start out with 10,000 mailers. If you start out with 10,000 mailers, and I hope you have a really, really big budget because you won the lotto. I don't think anybody won the lotto, but you have to really look at it, and it scales. I'm like the turtle in the hare story. I'm the turtle. I am the slowest person probably when it comes to certain things, but I'm consistent. Yeah. I will build little by little by little. And I started with 0, just like you see the social media account, people saying, I started with 0 followers and now I have 100,000. That's awesome, right? It same holds true for geographic farmers. I started with 100 flyers. Now I have 5,000 postcards. I started out with 10 people in my database for my farm. Now there's 500, right? So you really see that as a compounding action. You just cannot let up. And I know January is amazing for it, which is why the boot camp in January is always a blast. people have ambitions, and it's not because something changed, it's because they're building momentum, right? This like hyped up momentum, January 1st, 2023, a new year, I'm ready, I'm going to crush it. And this momentum, you need to carry it on. And one of the best ways for me to carry it on is always with training. If I can get my mind to continue looking at awesome, ideas, that for me builds momentum. And every time I build momentum, I do more business.
Yeah. Keep learning, keep doing. Well, I'm already signed up for the boot camp, so I'm super excited for that to start Monday. And I hope, everybody else signs up for it. We posted the link in the group, but we'll share it again later for sure. I'm sure we will make a whole post of it for it, because I really think that, a lot of people can really find their own niche within this. And the Mailer Bootcamp is really going to be your jump start to just get your toes wet into it, to see what you have to do. And I think that people are really scared about, starting something like this because they think that it's going to take so much time. But like Janine has said over and over and over, she started small and built it so that she could scale it. So you don't have to send 10,000 mailers a month. You're going to start small. And Janine shows everybody exactly, like what size to start at. There is something for everybody's budget, right?
Everybody's budget. I mean, and like I said, my budget was zero, but with zero money to spend, you have time. And if that means your kid's going to go in a stroller because you're going to deliver 100 flyers by going on a walk, you're going to do something for your health, right? You're going to lead generate along the way, and you get to spend time with your kid. So combining everything under one umbrella, rather than me trying to separate, now I'm a mom, now I'm a business owner, now I'm a person that enjoys working out.
Yeah,
I should, right?
No, I mean, and this is true modern marketing, because, a lot of the old school marketing and stuff is just not scalable. Cold calling people and stuff. You can sit here and dial one by one by one, and that's not scalable. That is not the best use of your time. But sending out, and like Janine said too, is like sitting here, whether I send 500 mailers right now or 1,000, I'm spending the same amount of time doing it, right? Yeah. But if I had to call 100 or 500 people, it's going to make a big difference.
Absolutely. And that's, one of the differences we talk about from prospecting and marketing. There's nothing wrong with prospecting. We're all trying to avoid it. Totally get it, right? But then the marketing aspect of it, that's where it's scalable. And yes, Facebook ads are scalable. They are why people do so well with them, because they really understood them. Mailers are scalable. But just like Jess said, trying to leverage, you have to build a call center, which then means you have to train people. I went through this a couple months back, bringing on an assistant, and I had to slow down and dial back in order to help a person understand my system. And for somebody that's a go, 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 go mode, that's hard. Training people is hard. Working with other people is hard. A mailer, I don't have to do much with it. It just, it just goes. So I love this scaling aspect for sure.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. And I mean, you can really take it, and you can even get a VA to help you do the mailers at some point. If
I get somebody doing that.
See, we get all crazy and stuff. And I know too, this is a little off topic too, but I know that you have created thousands of designs for your mailers. I know that's a little
yet. Not thousands yet. We're working on it, but it's building. We got hundreds of designs that are actually very different. So if you look at designs, from a lot of postcard marketing companies, and that we'll go over it in the bootcamp, so I don't want to give too much away, but I'm going to show you exactly where the difference is in the design from a highly converting one to something that just gets thrown in the trash, because nobody wants to spend money for literally a trash can.
Exactly. And finding things that, you're passionate about too, that you want to represent you, I know that there's probably some that are more on the humorous side, some that are, more serious and stuff. But if your personality is fun and you want people like your clients to, really resonate with you, you're going to want to connect with those same pieces to generate those leads, that personality match. So that's why, you create so many of them, is to find the right ones that, work for everybody, which is amazing.
Thank you.
Well, Janine, I don't want to keep you all day, but I appreciate you being here so much. And we've learned a phenomenal amount. And I'm so excited for the boot camp to start Monday. I can't wait.
Me too. Lots of agents, lots of dreams, and we're going to build a lot more people inside their hyper-local farms. That's my goal. I want to know I can refer my clients over to different states into hyper-local farms, because I know they're also going to be in better, better served. I know they're going to be in better hands. So trying to build that network of hyper-local agents is my mission. And I would love, love, love to help other agents become that hyper-local agent.
Yes, so we're going to share the links in the group again so that everybody has them. And a huge thank you again, Janine, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks. We'll have you back again soon, I'm sure.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, have a great day, everybody.
Bye.